Hello and welcome to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, the Fat Jack. The weekend is here. It's now basketball season. Football is in full swing. Hockey's underway. Soccer, UFC, all of it. We've got all of it going. The World Series. So many different reasons to be excited about football season. The Breeders' Cup coming up next weekend as well. So a lot going on. We have so much to get to. Let me bring in my co-host from Louisville, Kentucky. We'll get this show underway and get you some winners, get you signed up, let you start turning some profit or more consistent profit. We'll talk about some of those things going on as well. Mr. Brandon Rush, how are you, buddy?
I am splendid. It is it's birthday week, and it also is sports equinox. I mean, you get NBA, NHL, NFL, and the World Series going all in the same time frame. It is an immaculate time to be a sports fan. I'm fired up for a big week.
Yeah, and World Breeders' Cup next weekend as well on over Halloween. Lots going on for Halloween holiday. And you're right, almost overwhelming for people that are betting on sports on their own because they really, if you happen to know a little bit about one sport, the idea that you're putting in the time, the effort, the energy, and frankly know how to get winners in all the sports is so much more difficult and makes it to where the average guy
Doesn't have a
doing
chance.
trouble winning, right?
Yeah, it makes it a lot more difficult, especially if you are trying to dip your toe into all those pools.
Well, and you're going to, especially if you're winning with one or two. I have a lot of guys that signed up for football. Maybe they added UFC or added soccer, and they've been building profit. Well, now basketball's here. They're like, well, let me try it on my own a little bit. Let me just dabble. I'm not going to bet it most weekends. I'll just bet it some. That theory will start eating at the profit if you're not any good at it, or if you're unlucky in some cases. And so going the wrong direction is not a good idea. Getting all the picks early, getting all the picks when the season starts, that's always going to get you the best rate. So go to fatjacksports.com. If you're out there betting on the games, if you're betting on one sport or maybe a couple of sports, now's the time to go ahead and add the rest of those sports. We have basketball that'll be going all the way through the middle of June. We're going to build about 70 to 80 games worth of profit over that time. And so you're going to build money. You're going to make money going through the season. And even if you're not going to play every day or every week, we have a lot of guys that will say, yeah, Jack, I really don't play hoops until after football season. Well, even if that's the case, you're better off signing up now for what you pay to add those sports. Or if you're not on any package, getting one of those all-inclusive packages long-term, you're going to pay less than if you wait until the holidays when you're sick of your uncle, or without Christmas when you're tired, gifts are over and you're going to want a few more things to do, all those things. And then you dabble in. I've guys every week that will sign up just for the week. It's more than double to just go weekly than it would be if you sign up for the entire year. So great time to invest in the year, make a long-term plan, and start winning at fatjacksports.com, especially because we have such big games coming up this weekend. Lots and lots of games. What jumps out on Saturday, Brandon? Then we're going to talk about last week, and then we'll go on to Saturday. What do you like about Saturday?
Ole Miss, Oklahoma is essentially an elimination game. There's also an SEC eliminator. Mizzou goes to Nashville to take on Vanderbilt. Some fun ones. I'm very curious to see how teams like Texas Tech react. I'm very curious to see what Indiana can do against an upstart UCLA team that's playing like they actually know what to do now. Some very interesting games this weekend. What does Miami do after the loss to Louisville on Friday night? There's some intriguing matchups this weekend, and then there's a bunch that don't even include ranked teams. You get Kansas State, which is always a fun game, and Virginia playing North Carolina, who almost pulled off an upset the other night. So there's some fun ones in college football this weekend.
Yeah, it's mayhem. As a lot of times we get in the month of October. I mean, it's really, really difficult. Last week, Miami lost, Ole Miss lost, Texas Tech, LSU, Tennessee, USC, Memphis, Utah, Nebraska, all going down. The most bet games in the top 25 last week: Ole Miss, LSU, Texas Tech, Tennessee, and Duke. All lost. We did not have a great week either. We lost last week.
Sure.
And, again, it's one of those weeks. We lost if you're just playing football. If you're playing everything, you didn't lose. You made a little bit or broke about even. But, again, it really does emphasize the importance of getting all the sports. But if you just played football, you lost last week. We had our first losing Saturday.
The entire season. Yeah.
The entire season. We are into we're almost to Halloween, And we had not had a losing Saturday, Brandon. That is such a good run. In fact, on Saturdays alone, we're 35-19. We're up 21 games just on Saturday. Consider that if on Saturday, during the course of a football season, you're going to make between 50 and 60 games of profit. We talk about this every year, but that's a realistic amount that we'll be able to make for the guys that sign up preseason. So $100 player, $5K in their pocket. They pay $2,000. These are general numbers, but $2,000, you get it less than that. You get it more if you wait, but less than that if you sign up earlier. $5,000 profit. Then you pay $2,000. You make $3,000. If you are not happy with $3,000 profit in football, then you're not betting enough, or you're unrealistic about your goals, because that's a really good year. That's a good year with us. Consider that we've already made 21 games on Saturdays. Now, Sundays have not been great overall. Mondays have been great.
Thursdays have been
great. And so all that adds up. Last week, we made money in the NFL. We had our first losing week in college. We lost a couple of games overall. If you're jumping off the roof over 2 games in football, we're talking about. We're not talking about players' props. We're not talking
about baseball. Not talking about soccer. Not talking about UFC.
Not talking about all that. You're on all that. You're up. You made money again last week. But if you just played the football and you're jumping off the roof over 2, it's about you signing up late or getting on board in October, or possibly you don't know how to follow instructions as far as the games go. You can't follow our advice to win, because that's basically what it comes down to. If you're losing by betting all the plays, you're doing something wrong. Go to the How It Works tab. Read the recommended betting guide you receive tab when you sign up. Do those things, you'll start making money. I had a guy last week, Brandon, on this guy literally is if we had to rank top 10 jackasses over the last 25 years, I don't know that he's number 1.
1A.
He's so close.
Top 3.
Yeah, he's definitely top 3. And that's 25
he's
years.
He's a number 1 seed in his regional.
Without a doubt. Yeah, he's got a bye in the first round. I mean, that type of thing. He's earned it. He's earned the bye. Everything, and like I say, top 25 years of guys, that's a lot. But this guy, he will sign up, and then he disputed the credit card charge, and then he 6 months ago, he said he had a gambling problem and needed to, and I obviously accommodate every time.
Yeah.
So he says he's got a gambling problem. I say, no problem. Good luck with your life. And I give him his money back. A month later, he goes and just signs up on the website. So now I guess he took care of the gambling problem solved. No more gambling problem. So he's gambling problem solved. So I reach out and say, hey, thought you had a problem.
What are we doing here, buddy?
Yeah, no, I didn't have a problem. My wife and this and that, and I got that under control. Way to go. Good, thanks. Then he disputes the credit card charge. Then he goes back and still wants the service. So he wants to my customer service stuff, not you. I pushed this off on Karen and made her deal with it. But and Lindsay. And I made them kind of deal with this idiot. And so he's back in. Now he's got to get the credit card right. He got to get a new credit card. He wants to do the payment. All this thing. It's like he thinks he's the only customer. And so And so I would get this, oh, by the way, this guy, Shannon's back, and he wants to do X, Y, or Z. And I'm trying to be nice, but especially because we're having such a good year.
Sure.
So you may have gotten it just forwarded to the other customer service. But basically, I get a thing last night. I can lose this much on my own. One day is what caused that. One day.
Yep.
He won Monday. He won Tuesday. He won Wednesday. He won Thursday. He won Friday. He's won all year long. I've bent over backwards to allow him to try to win, and one Saturday, I can do this. You think that's the last I've heard of him, Brandon? You're sadly mistaken.
Oh, I know full well this will be an ongoing thing.
And no, he's out. He's banned. He's in the banned for life category now. So he'd have to sign up under somebody else's name, because I'm sick of his name. If I know your name and we're not friends, or you haven't been
right, right.
That is not good. I mean, we need to be friends, or you need to have been around for at least a decade for me to know. There's about 5 people that I will, if the phone, text, or ring, because they're just so old, they don't have internet, they don't have anything, and so I will pick up the phone. Everybody else, if I know your name, that is probably not a good thing, unless we're friends, or unless you've been around a long, long time. So one bad day last week. We lost on Saturday. I lost one game. It was one of those Saturdays where I had a half a point loss. I had a couple of bad picks lost, but we hadn't had any of that all year. We're in the
Right.
latter part of October. It hadn't happened. So we were due to have a bad day. No big deal. Ready for this weekend. I love this weekend's card. Love Ole Miss, Oklahoma. You classified it as an elimination game. I don't know that I go quite that far. It's certainly a huge game. But the SEC is so interesting. It's the closest thing we have to the NFL, and that you can lose. Things cannot go well for one day, but not all is lost. But if you look at the SEC top to bottom, Brandon, I don't know how many teams are getting in. I mean, 4 maybe, 5, 4? How many we get into this thing? So I guess the other question, are you okay taking – you're going to take one non-Power 4 conference team. You're certainly not going to take any more. But are you okay taking, let's say, a third Big Ten team or a second ACC team over the body of work that some of these SEC teams have done? The Big 12 is a totally different issue or conversation, I think, because they might get 2. But everybody else, are you okay? What are you doing? Are you putting an extra SEC or you put an extra ACC?
It depends on who it is and kind of how they finish out. Like if it's Miami and Louisville or Miami and Virginia, probably a second. I would probably take a Louisville or a Virginia over, say, Tennessee or Missouri at this point, if that's sort of the cutoff.
Which is a worse loss, Louisville to Miami or South Carolina to Oklahoma?
The worst loss.
Because that's where we're going to be heading. You're going to be looking at quality wins.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of splitting hairs down the road.
Unfortunately, because it's going to be that. I mean, you've got now Tennessee with a couple losses. I don't know if it's going to be one of these one loss or in conference. Like I think Texas, if Texas wins out,
it's going to be hard to keep them out if they win out.
Yeah, right. I mean, they're going to have 2 losses, but they're going to have a body of work that's really strong.
Yeah, they're going to have a loss to the number 1 team in the country and then a midseason hiccup.
Yeah. And in the SEC, if you're not getting, and I've talked about this since the summer, if you're not getting a hiccup in the SEC this year, it's going to be really, really impressive. So I think you're getting a couple Big Ten teams in. I don't think that it goes any deeper than that. That's going to leave somebody out that's pretty good. I mean, Oregon probably gets in if they went out. I don't know that you go any deeper than that. So it's going to be an interesting conversation, but I don't know that it's an elimination game, but it certainly is close. Oklahoma at home, been a nice comfort safety blanket for them. They're 4.5-point favorite, total of 52. Ole Miss, they're coming off it's just a brutal schedule. It's literally like you look at some of the NFL teams, just one week after the other, they're getting really difficult games. But this coming to Norman after last week, and they played well for a long time in that way. And a lot of those teams last week that I thought you might get an upset or so, or more of a cover, and you didn't even really get the covers either. You had USC that didn't cover by half a point. You had Georgia that got there by a point or so. A lot of those top end teams not only got it done straight up, but against the number. So it was interesting that a lot of the general public got killed, even with some of these teams getting there that were heavier favorites.
Yeah, not surprising though, because I mean, the general public week in and week out generally on the wrong side of a big number of those games.
Yeah, it's been tough. Living at the top has been tough. All right, if you're one of those that likes to turn on the TV, play the better teams, lay the number, that has not been the thing to do. And what was interesting is this last week, the most bet of those teams were not the teams that would, like Georgia didn't get a ton of action. People found reasons to play Ole Miss. USC getting almost double digits. People found a reason to play USC when Notre Dame got there. So even those kind of high profile games where a lot of weeks those had not been able to get you a payday. This last week they would have, but the general public laid off it because there were so many points that really weren't enough points. What about Texas Tech, Brandon? This is a team that I've been touting since the summer, or at least since we started the season, and they lose to a good team, not a great team, but they don't have their quarterback. So how much do you put into that? Where does this Texas Tech team fall?
I think that you can really mark it up to that. I mean, you talk about the focal point of your offense not being there, and you have to go to a backup. The fact that they all still almost won that game, kind of to me at least, shows how good that team is top to bottom. and is a force to be reckoned with if and when they get the quarterback back. Now the schedule doesn't get all that much tougher over the next few weeks. They've got 2 tough games left, and both of those are at home. So if they can just kind of hold serve, rebound off a 6-point road loss, I think they're probably fine and probably still in the driver's seat for the Big 12.
Yeah, they are, but it's double secret probation now. So it's like, okay,
yeah,
you got it done, but if you lose again, even with the quarterback out, this is one of those things. If they were an SEC team or a Big Ten team, even, I think we would be given a little bit more of a pass. But we want you to win. It's just such an interesting conversation because in certain conferences, we don't care if your quarterback's there or not. Now, luckily for them, they get Oklahoma State this week out in West Texas. Oklahoma State 1-7 against the spread, their last 8 against Tech, and all the numbers horrible with OSU as far as covering, as far as winning. Arguably one of the top, bottom, worst 2 or 3 teams, top to bottom in the country.
In all of Division I football, yeah.
In all of it, yeah. And that's not to say that Oklahoma State would lose to Kent State. That's not saying that Oklahoma State would lose to some of these other teams that are really bad. But where they are in the conference they're in, you know, you're supposed to being able to say, well, I'm not as bad as Kent State. It's not.
That's not a feather in your cap.
That doesn't get anything. You're going to have to do more. And I said this before. If you're going to West Texas, take Tortillas.
Stock up. Go to Crest Foods and just buy them out.
You know what's funny? I saw an interview on that. And by the way, go to fatjacksports.com, get signed up. We're going to break down. We're going to give you 2 free winners at least. We'll talk about the free winners in a minute. But, yeah, definitely get signed up today. Less than $100 a week. Basketball's here. NBA going this weekend. Football going this weekend. Everything. UFC, World Series. We turned a profit with those plays last week, with those World Series plays, and much, much more. So great time to get signed up at fatjacksports.com. I saw an interview from the conference or from Texas Tech or whatever about how they're going to handle it. They actually have phases they're going to do this. And if you get done once, they're going to warn you. You're in trouble. Don't throw any more tortillas. If you throw more tortillas, you're going to get a 15-yard penalty. They have this structure. What I didn't hear mentioned there, Brandon, was we're going to kick you out if you throw tortillas on the field. Do you happen to know if if you throw tortillas on the field in West Texas? This is the stupidest conversation I've ever had to have.
On this show, yeah.
We've had some.
Well, I would say, yeah, you're right. We've had some.
Yeah,
some
we've
doozies.
had some ones that are a lot dumber. But if you throw tortillas, are they kicking the kids out that do it?
I believe that if it's sort of a 3 strikes and you're out type deal, but are they going to kick everybody who throws them out? Are they keeping do you get a punch card? Like, all right, here's your first one. Don't do it again. Enforcement of that's going to be interesting.
If I'm a Texas Tech fan, I'm not going to throw tortillas on the field. Maybe I should say that first. Like if I like Texas Tech, I don't want 15-yard penalties because some idiot at the conference has decided that we're going to give penalties for what the people in the stands are doing. You know, like there's a freaking dress code. Show up in a wife beater, you're not going to be able to sit in the VIP section. I mean, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But if I'm an OSU fan or anybody else going and playing in West Texas, and they have not said fundamentally you're getting kicked out of the stadium if we see you throw one tortilla on the field to the entire then I am backpacking in tortillas. I'm going to have so many, and I'm going to hand them out to everybody, and I'm going to throw them at my own team.
If you're BYU going to Lubbock in a couple weeks, absolutely load up.
Load up. I make the road trip. I fill my trunk up with tortillas, and I throw at my own bench every single chance I get. And I try to get penalty yards for my team because of some idiot at the Big 12 office has decided to penalize people in the stands. If you're being kicked out, it's a little different story because you don't want to drive all the way to West Texas and then get kicked out. And I just wear a neutral color. You don't even have to wear red.
Mm-hmm.
Just wear a neutral color. Now you're part of the game. Now you're part of the outcome. If you can get your team, say, 30 yards in penalty yards by dispersing, getting everybody on board for this, it'll not only show the stupidity of the rule, it will help your team. And to your point, a team like BYU. So Oklahoma State, I don't care if they basically bought out the tortilla factory. And
there's not enough tortillas to get them enough yards.
There's not enough tortillas in West Texas. I mean, that's literally a T-shirt right there. That's a game day sign. There's not enough tortillas in West Texas to give OSU a chance.
Yeah.
So,
Now, where do we draw the line, though? What if we throw tortilla chips?
Anything that will get my team yards, I'm doing.
Yeah.
This is such a loophole in the rule. You're just assuming everybody throwing tortillas is a Texas Tech fan in celebration, and you're not even accounting for people that may want to just get penalty yards against Texas Tech, showing up with some tortillas.
The league doesn't think that you're going to think outside the box.
It took me 2 seconds to realize if I was a super fan, that'd be the first thing I'd do. So FatJackSports.com, if that's what you're going to do this weekend to try to win money, it's like storming the field in the game, where there's a prop bet at the Super Bowl, you storm the field. It's not worth it. You're normally not going to be shown on TV. I think you have to be shown on TV to win. Don't do it. If you're doing it to make money, do not take the tortillas. But if you want your team to have a better chance, especially in West Texas, until they change that rule, bring the tortillas. If not, sign up for the service. FatJackSports.com. Get signed up today and win this weekend. My first free winner, I think, is going to be Texas Tech in that game. My problem with Oklahoma State, Brandon, there's so many problems.
I was going to say there's only one.
It's like where to begin. It's like body image for me. I look in the mirror. It's like my problem is, well, how long do you have? I mean, I could talk for 10 minutes about my body. They are 38.5-point favorites, Texas Tech at home against OSU.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so many. But Texas Tech's already covered numbers like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been up 31 to 38 to nothing at half. And I do think that especially if they don't have the quarterback back, and really even if they do, that any time that they defensively are really, really good, they're going to stop you most of the time. You're not going to have a lot of points. So, and their offense is the type that they're going to keep throwing it down the field. We've seen this. We've made money with this earlier in the year. And I think after the loss, if they had not lost, I think, you take a deep breath in the second half. You probably rest guys. But first free winner of the day, Texas Tech minus the 38.5 against Oklahoma State. Another reason to do this is because I don't want to have to sit and hope that OSU will get a stop or so. They've got a couple of kids on that team that I know a little bit about. We're not friends or anything, but I know a little bit about. They're not horrible players. They just top to bottom are not putting 11 guys on either side of the ball on the field to give them a competitive chance in that conference. So really, really tough situation going on down there.
Back out to Allen. History final. Before the ball is tipped or a shot is even taken, before the crowd explodes or history is made. If you're going to bet, have a game plan. Bet legally, set limits, and keep it fun. When gambling becomes a problem, visit responsibleplay.org to find help.
If you want to stay in touch with everything related to the Fat Jack, follow us on all the socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, you name it, we are there at Fat Jack Sports. You can also watch the Fat Jack Sports Hour on YouTube every week. Get free winners and tips on how to become a better sports bettor. Plus, see Jack's appearances on the nationally syndicated TV show Beat the Odds. Stay connected with the Fat Jack Sports Service at Fat Jack Sports on all the socials and on YouTube.
Hey guys, this is the Fat Jack. Are you finally ready to get a better plan betting the games this year? Let me help. Go to FatJackSports.com, where we understand that it's not the gambling she hates, it's the losing. FatJackSports.com.
Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour, and now here is our host, the king of the hardwood. He is the Fat Jack.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Fat Jack Sports Hour, segment number 2. Is this like 9/11? Is it too soon to talk about sports? Talk about basketball?
No, I don't know. It feels like it is too early, but then you start looking at the calendar, November's not that far away, and that's historically the month where college basketball gets going. Obviously, the NBA has to start before that, so it feels, if outside, it feels too warm to be talking about basketball, but here we are.
It feels a little dirty, but
does it?
Yeah. I don't know. I've been working on it for a month, so it's not. It's.
You're already knee deep in basketball stuff.
No, you're not going to bet money on things if you're not working ahead. You got to be working ahead. So October's a busy time for sure. November's a busy time. NBA championships, we can get some of that down if we want. I don't know that I will. Oklahoma Thunder, heavy favorites to repeat, plus 200. So basically 2-1. You got to tie. Just public service announcement. We talked about this before. If you're going to be betting futures, I do not recommend doing it if it's under 20-1. It's a waste of money. You're tying up your money long term for a season. I'd rather go win totals if you're going to do that, because on the NBA championship, you have to win it all. And if you Oklahoma Thunder, Thunder last year, maybe this year they're 2-1. So you bet 100, you win. You're going to profit 200. Denver second choice at 7-1. Cleveland 7-1. The Knicks 12-1. Clippers 17-1. Houston 17-1. In the NBA, I guess I could see doing 17-1. I mean, but I'm only betting futures to return money. I want money. My ROI has to be high. So I'm not going to, and you get into a 7-game series, it's a little tougher to hedge because there's multiple games. So you're only
but if you can hedge series prices, so there's always that option. But yeah, it is a long-term investment, considering that you'd be spending money now that you're not going to get a return on until May or June. So that is you have to be willing to play the long game there.
And if you can't double $100 to 200 or 300 between now and
then, yeah.
I mean, it's just irresponsible. Honestly, I get why you might want to. So you could say, I bet them back in October. I get it. But at 2-1, at 7-1, I wouldn't touch it. Anybody longer than that, Brandon? Minnesota, the Lakers 18-1, Orlando 20-1, the Atlanta Hawks 27-1, Golden State 27.
Maybe Boston. If they start to play kind of better. Philly, I can't pull the trigger on. Dallas is intriguing. You get Cooper Flagg, obviously the number 1 overall pick, probably going to be rookie of the year. If Anthony Davis is healthy, Jason Kidd can probably get that team to the playoffs, but the West is bonkers. Maybe take a flyer on Detroit. They've, Cade Cunningham. That whole roster is young. They're athletic, and the East is very gettable. So there might be a good hedge number there. But Miami, Toronto, Charlotte, no one else there is really doing much of anything for me, especially in the East.
Yeah, Dallas would be the only one because of all the unknowns. And Anthony Davis is healthy today, but he's going to go to dinner tonight.
Right. And what happens the first time that it gets cold in Dallas? Does the back act up?
I mean, he's got to get in the car after eating. Valet doesn't open the door all the way. Next thing you know, he's out for 3 weeks. I mean, that guy's like dealing with paper mache. So I couldn't bet, but they're the team to me that, because of Flagg, they're going to be playing the point a lot right now, and I don't know how long that's going to last. I mean, the problem with playing point guard in the NFL or the NBA is you have to every single time down it's a high energy position from a guy that can play it, but I just don't know long term if that's any type of solution. I mean,
when you go from college where you played 40 games, maybe you're going to play 82 in the NBA. So now you're doubling your workload. You're doubling, you're increasing your output on a night to night basis, because you're just playing 48 minutes games instead of 40-minute games. You're playing 3-5 times a week, depending on how the schedule rolls out. That's a lot to put on a rookie and expect to take them to the playoffs or further.
Yeah. So I get why they would do it, why they would work on it in the preseason. I just don't know that at long term it's anything. Their win total is 41.5 games. That's a lot. And I always, when I look at these season win totals, I look at these do not factor in injury. So I'm almost always looking for unders, because these are where the market believes they're going to be if everybody stays relatively healthy. So what's this number if Cooper Flagg goes down for 3 weeks or more?
In the upper 20s probably, and there's a number of teams that are in that boat to where they're kind of one star centric. Like, if heaven forbid something happens to Trae Young, Atlanta's going to fall off. There's a number of teams that are kind of in that same boat. I feel that if they have their one guy go down, I mean, look at Indiana. They lose Tyrese Halliburton. Obviously in the NBA Finals, no one is talking about Indiana as being a possibility to even make the playoffs in the East this year. So and that's a team that went to the finals last year.
Yeah, Oklahoma City, you either play under or you don't play that one at all. Yep. And it's because anybody that wins, the expectations are super, super high the next year when they keep the team together, which Oklahoma City did. They are not one player centric. They have multiple players, but they're also a team that if you get hurt, if you let down. Most of the time, I've talked about this with the Yankees and the Dodgers and those type teams. Under with them is almost always a winner because the public is going to bet over based on the amount of stars that are starting the season before the season goes. But as you go through, we saw both those teams went under the win total this last year. And heck, the Dodgers may win the World Series, but they were under. And Oklahoma City, I see the same thing. This is a team you bet under. If you're going to bet it, it's minus 130 to go under. That will be one of ours. It has already gone out by the time the show runs to be under on their win total. Doesn't mean they're not going to win the championship. It just means that they're going to have some injuries or they're going to have some rest or they're not going to outperform expectations based on where they were last year with 100% non-injuries. Because these numbers really don't take into account injuries, and
there's no way you can handicap that.
Right.
Just in the same way you can't handicap in-game injuries, unless you know, hey, your quarterback's going in with a tight hamstring. You can't do that over an 82-game season.
No, and turnovers are tough too, as a lot of people are seeing. We had, Sunday we had a bunch of that. Let's turn to the NFL real quick, Brandon, before we take another break. And let's your thoughts last week on the NFL. We got some bad luck in the NFL. It was a tough. I know you know this because you've been with me for so long. But Sunday, we only had 4 plays. We had one Monday, we won Thursday. So we were 2-0 going into the weekend. We only had 4 plays on Sunday, and 3 of them were opinions. And I know you know how to read between the lines. That means Jack doesn't love this card.
Doesn't love the card, yep. Wasn't willing enough to go. And it wasn't, I can't say not willing enough, but smart enough to know, hey, this is not an opportunity for us to really kind of get aggressive and bet 6 games, bet 7 games.
Or a bunch of selections, because I'm not doing that. You get what I'm going to bet. That's where these picks come. It's what I'm going to personally play. So it's irresponsible to clients out there, especially after a bad Saturday. If I have a bad Saturday and then Sunday, if I want to be a hero, I would just release a bunch of selections and try to get it back. I don't ever say to myself, let's get it back. Let's get anything back. That is not into my brain.
That is not a sound sports betting strategy.
Never.
Any betting. You're at the blackjack table. You've lost 6 of your last 7. Hey, let's go 6 times odds on this hand, and then we'll be back.
Yeah, it's like eating a cinnamon roll. I mean, short-term happiness, long-term problems. Anytime you're betting too much to recover or do away with what you've done recently, that is a losing formula. I'm not doing this to lose. I'm doing this to win money. My clients want to win money long term. I will have people that get mad, and they'll whatever because how are we going to get back if you don't do it? I don't care about getting anything back. I'm not trying to get anything back because I'm going to win long term. I've been playing for 25 years. I've been playing since January. I've been playing since August. All the games. So I've been building profit. So I'm not going to overextend or ask my clients to overextend, especially on a day that I didn't love. So, come to find out, I was right. I mean, we won the selection easy. It went over by 1,000, and we got some bad luck in one of the opinions, and then the other 2 opinions were not great. So,
no third cinnamon roll is what is the moral of the story here.
Let's stop. You know why? Because we're going to make more cinnamon rolls this week.
Yep.
And we're going to make more cinnamon rolls next week. And you're going to be so sick of cinnamon rolls. You're going to just be bathing in cinnamon rolls by the time the season's over, as long as you don't overdose after a losing day. So there's a lesson there, certainly for the average losing gambler. If you're a guy that likes to double up or triple up especially when you're running the wrong direction. I have other handicappers that are, they make money, and they're pretty good at this. And everybody agrees on the same thing, that if you're going to increase your bet, which I normally don't because we're consistently really, really good. But if you're going to increase your bet, you only do it when you're winning.
When you're hot. Yep. You don't do it when you're down.
You definitely don't do it when you're down. Look at this week's NFL card. What do you like this week, Brandon?
I mean, the Colts are an absolute machine. And it's hard right now to kind of look against them, especially when they play an AFC South division schedule. And this week they're playing Tennessee, who – cannot get out of their own way. I feel bad for Cam Ward. I think he's going to be, in time, a good quarterback, but he doesn't have any pieces around him. They've already fired their head coach, and now they got to go and play possibly the hottest team in the NFL. This is a bad situation for the Tennessee Titans going up against the Indianapolis Colts.
Did you watch the game with the Chargers and the Colts?
Yes.
That's dangerous. And I thought that the announcers did a really good job of explaining why they are so dangerous and why they are having so much success. They literally never are behind the chains.
Right. I mean, you get Jonathan Taylor running downhill and healthy. I mean, we saw it Sunday night with Christian McCaffrey. I mean, when you have a running game that is consistent and can churn out 6-7 yards on first down, you're getting somewhere, and you're really limiting the opportunities for your quarterback to make mistakes.
Tennessee 3-17 against the spread their last 20. That's not great.
Oh,
Let's not
that
look into that storm.
That gets you fired. Yeah,
that'll get you fired. 0-5 against the spread their last 5 in the series. There's just nothing to like about Tennessee other than you're getting 14 points, and those are like last few weeks of the season numbers. You normally don't 2 touchdowns this time of year. Teams are, by the way, by the time the show runs, the Dolphins may not have a head coach either. But when you get into the latter part of October, first part of November, unless you have a team that visibly is just thrown in the towel, you normally get value playing bad teams. And that's because they're all paying for paychecks. They're all paying for contracts. They're all paying for who's watching.
They're getting on tape so they can get somewhere else next year because they are getting the hell out of there.
But we are kind of seeing in a few of these spots where, teams are not supposed to be competitive. Well, by gosh, they're really not.
The Jets, the Dolphins, Titans. Yeah,
they look lost. Those 3 teams absolutely look lost. The Jets, I had given some hope to after London. They'd played pretty well, especially defensively. They got no production at quarterback. They finally made a change at quarterback. Fields is horrible. He's literally horrible. And they got a little more production out of the backup there. But their defense is not great. We talk about the Jets and from a defense standpoint. There's a lot of times you'll get great defensive play out of the Jets. They're a good defensive team, but not good enough to win a bunch of games. What about Cleveland? They show you anything at all after beating up on Miami, or are they just better than Miami?
I think that's like being the tallest midget. Like that is not a anything to really kind of hang your hat on. And now they play an interesting Patriots team because last week was, Vrabel's return to Tennessee. Even though they're good, they're sluggish early. Obviously, if they can hold New England to the teens, they probably got a chance. But I don't see enough there to really kind of get all that excited about. But plus a touchdown, maybe.
Yeah, you get 7 there, total of 40. Cleveland showing a little bit more offensively, but against a bad team. You really don't want to overreact to things like that when they play really, really bad team. Jets, another bottom feeder. I start at the bottom of the NFL card this week because this time of year, a lot of times that's where the value is. People have seen enough out of these bad teams, but they will play better at times. They're not going to not cover every single week through the rest of the year. The Jets go to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's 6.5-point favorite. They seem to have worked out their quarterback situation. We saw all the points when they this last week when they played in primetime and getting a big win against the Steelers. Probably the variances or the regression is coming, so they're not going to score 30 this week, but you don't need 30 against the Jets. I mean, you get to even with 15, their defense. Even with their defense, it's not good. I'm not sure the Jets will score against anybody. That's where you start with the Jets. It's like, how bad would the defense need to be? Because the Cincinnati does not have a great defense. They have a good defense. But how bad does the defense need to be for the Jets to score enough to even cover 6.5?
I mean, you need a defensive touchdown if you're New York at that point because the offense isn't going to get you points.
Yeah, Cincinnati's been giving up points at home. Total's gone over 9 of the last 10 games at home. So that's a tough spot there as well. FatJackSports.com, guys. If you're going to be betting on sports, the only people not winning with us this year are the guys not getting all the plays, or even if they're a football alone, they're making a lot of money this year. But if you sign up just for a day here or just for a weekend here, then they're going to be, throughout the course of the season, there's going to be 5 days that are really bad. I say really bad, 2 and 4 in football. That's really bad to me. 3 and 3 pushes, so you're 1 game from a push, but you're also 1 game from 1 and 5. So 2 and 4 is really bad. They're going to have probably 5 of those all year. And handicappers will never say this. Gamblers will never talk about it because the minute it happens, they move on to the next day. And they're like, oh, I was great on Monday. I was great on Tuesday. I was great on Wednesday. We can focus on that, but that I built up all the profit going into a Saturday. But we're going to have 5 or 6 bad days throughout the course of the year. And the key is are you getting all the good days? And more importantly, are you paying the least amount to get all the good days? So make sure you're getting all the plays. Make sure you're paying for long-term packages, because you're paying a lot less for the exact same information if you're signing up weekly. So it's not like they're getting different plays. I mean, the guys signing up weekly are not getting a different set of games than if you sign up for the year. You're just saving a lot of money by making a long-term investment. I want you to win money. That's why I do this. I want you to build profit. I want you to win money. To do that, you're going to need to do more than, hey, I'm going to bet this weekend. I lost last weekend, so I'm going to call the Fat Jack. It works most of the time. 4 out of every 5 weeks, that works. But if you sign up for one bad weekend, we're still going to win. We're still going to go off. And, I ran that $44 special, Brandon, a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And had hundreds of people sign up. And I think it's like 30%. Even after that weekend that went 3-1 on Saturday, we pushed on Sunday. They made a little bit of profit. They didn't get all the plays. We had gone 5-1 with all the picks, and I of course put out all that, put out some extra plays. Those turned a profit on Saturday as well. But I only have 30% of the guys will then reinvest for something longer to build profit long term. I always ask myself, Brett, what are those other 75%? What are they doing? Are they going back to just losing on their own?
Probably. I would say that's probably the case, because they sit there and they paid $44. They got 4 college, 4 NFL, and 4 props. They took their profit and they were like, hey, you know what? Dinner's on me tonight. And then they just went about their week. So they either went back to playing their favorite teams, went back to just betting Alabama every week, or they didn't bet this week. I would say that's probably a majority of it.
I don't see anybody that didn't bet. That's my whole thing. I don't see a world that they sign up for 44, unless they were going to another state that had sports gambling, and where they live they don't. But
Sure.
I don't see signing up for $44 and having that outcome. It's not like we went 0 for and lost. I mean, we won on Saturday, pushed on Sunday, but then we won overall, and the extra plays won too. So you won a little bit. You didn't get rich, but you turned a little profit. And the idea with that is, if you make money $44, the idea is, okay, I'm not asking you to spend $200 this week. I'm saying sign up longer, and it works out to about $75. And if they had done that, I always envision this train that's got these stops on the station, and everybody jumped on. We were super busy, like a subway, super busy, $44. We come to the first stop, and 75% of the people jump off the subway. After that, we went to an amusement park. We hit the Alps. We did some skydiving. We went to and all these people.
We had cinnamon rolls.
We had cinnamon rolls. It was great. We won Monday. We won Tuesday. We won Wednesday. We won Thursday. All of that. The people who jumped off the subway stop on Skid Row, they did not get any of that.
Or it was an unrealistic expectation. Or like, oh, $44 package, blah blah blah. If I don't go 7-1, I'm not going to sign up again.
So, and that's okay. If that's your theory, that's great too. But I said, now what? What did you? That's my big. What did you do? Did you go back and lose on your own? I can't change unrealistic expectations. We're going to have 7-1 week, a lot of 7-1 weekends.
We had a 7-1 Thursday.
7-1 exactly with 7-1 on Thursday. Which, if you'd signed up for it, you would have got 7-1 on Thursday. But we're going to have a lot of those. But if you're betting on your own, that what we're doing or not doing on those days doesn't make any difference. It's what you're doing. So do you go back to losing and immediately give back the little bit of profit that I made you while we're winning? We're off eating cinnamon rolls and skydiving down the track. You've got off in Skid Row, and you're out trying to not be stabbed by a random needle. I just don't understand it. Honestly, I don't understand it, and it's the epitome. And there's a ton of people that do that. It's not like it's one or two. I get some people just are losing gamblers. Their thought process will never let them win. I get that.
Yep.
But this is a lot of people that said, no thanks. A little bit of profit, no thank you. I'll try that on my own. And then they go off and lose, and they bet teams last week like Miami, like Ole Miss, like Texas Tech, like LSU.
Like Texas.
Like Tennessee. Yeah, all those teams that didn't cover. Again, so get the weekday profit. That money spends exactly the same as the weekend profit.
Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Before the ball is tipped or a shot is even taken. Before the crowd explodes or history's made. If you're going to bet, have a game plan. Bet legally. Set limits. And keep it fun. And if gambling becomes a problem, visit responsibleplay.org to find help.
Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour, and for the final time this week, here is our host, winning yet again in October. He is the Fat Jack.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Fat Jack Sports Hour, segment number 3. So many things. It's hard to know where to go. You know, I've got some stories. I had a run-in the handicap bathroom stall at Caesars. But by the time I tell that story, we're not going to have talked about the basketball or about the games going this week in college football, about all the profit that's going to be going out. And we need to get people signed up for that. If you want to make money long-term, get the picks long-term. A lot of people going out for conventions this time of year, a lot of weekend guys. FatJackSports.com. If you need a specific package, it's not as easy as it used to be. Used to be, I'd say, hey, $149 get you Friday to Monday. Now it's more, okay, we have UFC. We have
how deep do you want to go?
Yeah,
what all the things of the smorgasbord menu of things we have, what do you want?
It's like, how much do you want, at the risk of sounding like a handy, how much do you want to win? Because that's the truth. I mean, if you want to make more, get all the plays. This last week, every single week this year so far, every week, the players that are getting all the picks have made money, more money than the plays just getting football.
Yep.
That's been the standard. That may not be the case every week, every day of every year, but this year, since football started, if you're getting all the plays, the soccer, the UFC, the players props, football, and now basketball. We'll see how basketball affects that, but because there are a lot of basketball picks. But if you get everything, you've made more money. And this last week, great example. So we lose on Saturday, we push on Sunday. The players props go 6-1. So if you went out on Thursday, you went 6-1 on Thursday, 7-1 if you count the football play. You won there, and then the players props won again. They're 22-15 over the weekend, and then that made up for the small football loss. And then you had soccer and you had UFC and all these other sports that add to that. So on a weekly basis, you're going to make more if you bet everything. So the guy going out for the weekend, it's like, well, how many sports do you want? So it's still very inexpensive, very, very economical if you're going to Vegas to do that. But it takes a little more time to get guys set up on the right package.
Yeah, and it is, like you said, it is tougher, but at the same time, it's a better opportunity for not only for us, but also for potential clients, whether you're in for the weekend because you're going to Vegas or you're going to go all season long through June through the NBA Finals.
It's a safety net is what it is. So you have the one bad week. We're going to win in football 4 out of every 5 weeks on average.
Mm-hmm.
That's nobody wants to hear that, but that's the truth. Now this year it's been more than that.
Yeah, because we're now in the middle of October. We've had exactly one loser. So it's more than 4. But on average, over the last 20 years, 25 years now, 4 out of every 5 weeks we're going to win at football. 4 out of every 5 weeks we're going to win at basketball. UFC had been about that. Now it's down to 2 out of 3 over the last couple months. Soccer is going to be 3 out of 4. Players props have been what we've had one losing week in the props. You can see, go to the results tab. You're able to see all the results. And we had one losing week in the props. We lost 4 more games than we won. There's a lot of volume in the props, but that adds up to a lot of profit. As I said, we're up again this week. Anytime the props come and I look and I just start counting, I'm like, once I get to like 15, my eyes start getting a little cross-eyed. I'm like, well, there's a lot of props, a lot of volume. But when we're done Sunday night, like you said last week, Sunday is payday.
Yeah, we had games that just, games that we won almost every one. And so the problem with cutting it down, I mean, like the Tennessee Titans game, we were 2-0. The Charger-Indiana game, not a coincidence. I love the game. It was a favorite game of the week. 4-1 with the props on top. So just in the Charger game, you win a selection and 4-1 of the props. So there were games that didn't win every single thing.
Sure.
But on a week where I didn't love the card in the NFL, that's okay. The fact that we're still winning, still making money in the props on a weekend that was not great in one sport, it just adds to the value when you get signed up at FatJackSports.com. Let's rapid fire a couple free winners this week, Brandon. You want to do college or NFL?
NFL, Cowboys, Broncos. What do the Broncos do for an encore after scoring 33 points in the fourth quarter? Now they play a Dallas team, which offensively seems to be a juggernaut. They're going to have to find something because how do they get up after that comeback win?
I tell you what, the Giants, what a long flight home. My God.
At the same time, though, they got to feel better than they were when they started 0-3 before Jackson Dart came into the equation. That's of any 2-5 team or worse in the NFL. I don't want to play the Giants right now.
No, without a doubt. And they've got you're going to have a headache afterwards, banging in a Scatterbo the entire game. And their coach saved his job. I mean, he's definitely by making
For
the
now,
change. And I don't even know that unless he gets hurt. If he gets hurt, all bets are off. But
sure,
if he stays in, they're going to be serviceable at least. I mean, they'll learn from that. I under the total in that one. The Broncos defense has been really sound most of the time, and you're getting some value with how many points not only the Broncos scored in the fourth quarter, but how the Cowboys have looked offensively. I do think that at Mile High, this is a spot for regression as far as the points on both of those teams go. I'd play under the total there. I think Buffalo takes care of Carolina. Carolina is fool's gold right now. There are a few teams right now that I think that you've got a desperate Bills team going to a 4-3 Carolina team. I go ahead and lay the number, even though that's into that trend of more than a touchdown on the road. Is I want to say 4-24 against the spread over the last 3 years. So that's a tough spot.
And Buffalo, to kind of maybe piggyback on that a little bit this year, their wins this year are against teams who, or at least going into the weekend, last weekend, were 3-21. So they're beating up bad teams, but good teams, not so much.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're getting here, another bad team. So I'd lay the points to play Buffalo there. And then the Packers-Steelers, another one of those kind of under situations where you got a lot of points last week, at least out of the Steelers. Don't expect that every week. Both these teams will try to control time of possession with their offense, so under the total in that one Sunday night. Any final thoughts, Brandon?
I'm going to the Sphere in May. I got tickets to see No Doubt at the Sphere, so I'm excited for that. So possibly 3 Vegas trips in about a 6-month span for me. I'm kind of jacked up for that.
When's the third one? We have Super Bowl and that one. When are you going again?
There's a possibility of a Thanksgiving trip, but
wow, good for you.
Possibility. I'm planting the seed, and if that doesn't come to fruition, I'll sneak another one into the summer. I'm sure.
You need some momentum. You need some
I do.
Thanksgiving. Vegas momentum building. You're not alone. I mean, there's a lot of people out there like, okay, we can go see our relatives who they're a 5 at best, or we can go to Vegas and see something fun and do this and eat some buffets and have a great time.
We do an on-year, off-year type situation with Thanksgiving with Jamie's in-laws, and I think this is an off-year, so I might be able to swing
sit
it.
around there and just eat a little bit and hang out or watch soccer or whatever you do in Louisville, or take a little bit of a grinding flight, but have a great time. I think you're onto something there. Get the momentum going, Brandon. It's downhill from there. So
exactly.
All right, guys, wager responsibly. Have a great time. Go to fatjacksports.com. Get signed up. Don't drink and drive. And until next week, where we were going to be in Breeders' Cup week. Those plays are free. We didn't even talk about that. But those plays are free when you sign up at fatjacksports.com. For Brandon the Fat Jack, this has been Fat Jack Sports Hour.